Hello ladies and gentlemen, MarauderEX here with part 3 of my nostalgia in gaming. And this is one that, like I said, I really didn't expect anyone to guess. Like, impossible for people to guess a lot of these, because they're just so different. This is Earthworm Jim, but specifically the Game Gear version. And, yeah, the Game Gear version. The reason why I'm showing off the Game Gear version is because this specific game, had a particular impact on me. So, one of the things that I've been discussing recently is my ridiculous amount of travel. And that was something that has been a constant throughout my life, is a lot of travel. I've been traveling a lot since I was a kid. I live in North Carolina, and I've lived in North Carolina since pretty much the age of 5, give or take. I mean, I was really, really young when we moved to North Carolina. I just started kindergarten, so that specific time frame. What? Stop it, dog. Anyway, so that's, a big part of my life was traveling back to my parents' home in West Virginia. My parents were born and raised in West Virginia. I was born in West Virginia, and I have a lot of family still there, which is one of the places that I travel to quite often, because, family. So, my excessive traveling that I've been talking about is not new. I've been doing it since, really, as long as I could remember at this point. So, with that said, I've basically been traveling my entire life, and I've been gaming my entire life. Well, the way I was able to connect those two particular sections of my hobby life was with portable gaming. One year for Christmas, I requested a Game Gear, because, I would like to play games on the go, and I had most of the same games that the Genesis did. And again, I didn't really care about graphics, I cared about gameplay. I wanted to be able to play the games. So that's what I wanted to play, was I wanted to be able to play all of the cool games that all of my friends were playing, and that, the media was trying to tell me that I needed and wanted to play. And that's, that was it. So I asked for a Game Gear. I got the Game Gear long before I got this game. I had it for a while, but the Christmas that I got this in particular stood out, because this was the Christmas that I realized I had more games on my Game Gear than I did my Genesis, and that I had more games on my Game Gear than any of my single friends for their SNES. A couple of friends had a Game Boy as well, but they had like 1 or 2 games for it. They'd have an SNES, they'd have maybe like 6 or 7 games. At this point, I had like 12 games for my Game Gear. I had so many games. I'm gonna see if I can remember what all I had at this particular point, and put it in the video description for this particular video. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what I had, but I know I at this point had more games on my Game Gear than I had on my Genesis, and that I had more games on my Game Gear than my friends had on their SNES. So that was a really interesting experience to me, realizing that I had basically chosen portable gaming over console gaming, and that I was really not as focused on graphics as I probably should have been as a kid. Because again, the last episode talking about Donkey Kong Country and its graphics blowing me away, this is nothing like what you're going to see. Like, this is in no way, shape, or form similar to Donkey Kong Country in terms of graphics. There's just no contest. This game doesn't even have actual backgrounds. So, like, how was I so enthralled with this? Well, it was just the gameplay. That was really it. I was just so enthralled with being able to play the game. And I was also more enthralled with being able to play the game on the go. Like, whenever my friends went out of town to visit their family or just, go on vacation or something, they couldn't game. They couldn't play games because most of them didn't have anything worth taking. Like, they could take, if they had a Game Boy, like I said, they'd have a couple of games for it, but most of the time they didn't feel like spending the batteries on, playing a game. I was decked out with the Game Gear. I had an AC adapter, I had a car adapter, I had a little carrying case, I had one of the magnifiers, I was decked out with my Game Gear. I didn't have the cool, complete exoskeleton that they had for the Game Boy. I didn't have that for my Game Gear, but I was as decked out as I could get. But I was enthralled with the concept of, mobile gaming. And it didn't replace consoles. When I was at home, I'd play my Genesis, or I'd go over and play my neighbor's SNES, or whatever. Like, it didn't replace one or the other. It was just, it gave me more options to keep gaming when I was not at home, and that was something that I loved, because I didn't want to have to give up gaming because I was going to go visit family. And, I love my family, but, I will be the first to admit, there's not a lot to do in West Virginia as a child. So, just throwing that out there. A kid in West Virginia, it can be kind of boring. But, I had family to help entertain me, and when, I needed something a little bit more, I had a Game Gear. That was it. I loved playing on my Game Gear. I had a blast doing it, and I had so many games that I, to this day, regret giving up. I actually sold my Game Gear at a garage sale my parents had years later in life. Years later in life. And I sold it. It was actually right after I'd gotten a Sega Saturn, because there were several games coming out on the Saturn that I wanted, and I couldn't afford to get them otherwise. So I sold my Game Gear and all of my games, and the collector in me weeps at that, because I had a lot of games that were kind of hard to find now, like Shining Force, Sword of Vijaya, or Hagia. I'm not entirely sure what it's supposed to be. Axe Battler, which, finding a working ROM of that seems to be next to impossible. Now that I've got the Xbox, I might see if it'll work on this emulator, but either way, it was something I deeply regretted, and, kind of wish I hadn't done, because it removed a huge amount of what had built up to be part of my identity as a gamer. Like, the fact that I could pull out a Game Gear and play games that people didn't even realize that had came out on the Game Gear. There was a copy of Mega Man that came out on the Game Gear. It was unique to the Game Gear, which I'm pretty sure all of the enemies that were in it were taken from other games, and it played differently. It was kind of like Mega Man: The Wily Wars on the Genesis or Mega Drive. That it was just it was not right. Like, there's just something about it that is just not right. So, but yeah. I was, ecstatic to have it. And I will never forget realizing that Christmas, it's like, hey, this is this is when I kind of shifted. It's like I don't have these games on other consoles. They're available on other consoles, but I much rather got them on a handheld, which, seems almost blasphemous. It would be very much blasphemous in this day and age, but at the time, I didn't care. I just wanted to play the games, and I wanted to not have to sacrifice where and when I could play those games. So, yeah. And playing this game again now, much later in life, I realize probably not the smartest decision I ever made, but because this game kind of broken. But you know what? As a kid, I really wouldn't have it any other way. I was enthralled to have this. So, because it was Earthworm Jim, it was the game itself was what was important, not the graphics. Haha. But yeah, I got nothing else to say about this one, really. It was Earthworm Jim. Also, I wanted to say, thank you to Tommy Talrico. I've seen his wonderful Video Games Live concert several times now, and, had not been for him making amazing music to this game, I probably would not pay attention to that at all in gaming. So yeah. That's been this episode of Gaming Nostalgia. Second that I realized mobile gaming and, traditional gaming, you didn't have to pick one or the other to enjoy it. And, both can go kind of hand in hand. It's great. So I will see you guys in the next episode of Gaming Nostalgia. Again, take a wild guess, a shot in the dark of what you think it might be. And, because I love trying to figure out what it is. So, I'll see you guys in the next installment. Till then, later everyone.